I have no strategy whatsoever. Okay, I'm going into this just like, all right, so I wanted to talk to you. In my mind, I'm going to tell her, and she's going to be like, oh my God, that's not true, but I thank you for telling me. Actually, let's go do a shot at the bar. Okay, let's go. Back to the party and continue the fun. So I found out some information in Ireland that affected like my mind. It just affected me on a level where I was like, so I want you to know what is being said about me. Yes. Okay. So Laura has been saying that Margaret's friend caught you in the back seat of a car kissing a guy. And he went back and told Margaret, and Margaret went and told Laura. This is what Laura is saying.
If we're going to be really honest here, then let's be really honest. I already heard this story. Do you want to know how?
Tell me.
Through my husband. Do you want to know how I heard it through my husband? Because his sister called him over to his house secretly without me to tell him this story behind my back.
6 months ago, Teresa called Joe over with Louie because she heard a rumor about me. And she believes it so much that she had to call her brother over. How dare you tell my husband that I would cheat on him?
Pretty up sister-in-law I have, isn't it?
You're saying this off a baseless rumor of some woman who wants to hurt Margaret with no facts, no anything. Did she think he was just going to pack his bags and leave? Like, what are you doing?
Call us both over.
Yeah, but
call us best relationship. Both over. And say, guys, this is what she said. I know Melissa would never do something like this.
Oh, I'm sure she didn't want it to be true. Why would she want that to be true?
I have been accused, dollface, look at me. I have been accused of being a stripper.
I know your sister-in-law, Melissa. She actually worked for me at a little gentleman's club in Elizabeth.
I have been accused of doing stuff in parking lots before. You had dinner with my sister-in-law, and you told him, did I meet my ex? Well, you did meet your ex. She said multiple times, your wife will leave you for a richer man.
She's like, as soon as I met Joey, I saw his house. She's like, I wasn't stupid like my two sisters, like a gold digger.
She said multiple things that we have let go in our life. Okay, major
I had no intention on confronting her about this because Joe doesn't believe it. It's bullshit. And because I wanted to let her have a peaceful 6 months leading up to her wedding.
Half the reason he can't look at her in the eyes is because she called him over to her house that day.
So in that scene, we see that Danielle is very naive. She's thinking that, hey, you know, we heard that there's a rumor that you're cheating on your husband, and I'm just going to tell you this information at a party. Yes, it's going to be away from everyone, but it's at a party regardless, and everything's going to be okay. You're just going to deny it, and then we're just going to go back to drinking. I think that's a little bit funny of Danielle to think that, but I truly believe that Danielle did not have any bad intentions walking into that scene. And I will explain why, because I did say I'm going to cover this quite extensively. Something clicked to me. I've watched the episode since yesterday. I've watched it maybe 5 times. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I just had an aha moment about something. So I'll be very curious to know what you guys think of that, of my theory when it comes to that in the comments. So before I get into that scene, when Danielle decides to pull Melissa away from the party, we can see Margaret and hear her say, oh, what is that about? What is going on? What are they doing? Right? Margaret does that often, I find. Like even in prior seasons, whenever people are having a side conversation that she is not involved in, she is always hovering over the situation. She always wants to know what it's about. She always wants to know why people are dissociating themselves from or walking away from the group. Margaret is just like in there, right? She needs to know. She's very possessive of her relationships. At least that's the feeling that I get from her, right? But anyways, so finally the ladies sit down, Danielle and Melissa on the couch, and then Danielle, as you heard in the clip, blurts it out to Melissa and says, listen, this woman, Laura, this is what she's been saying about you. little did Danielle know that Melissa already knew. And this is why at this point, I think, guys, that this is like Danielle got set up and she doesn't even know it. If Danielle by now does not know that she got played by Teresa and by Jennifer, she's very naive, she's inexperienced, she has never been really, well, she's been on other reality TV shows, but she doesn't know how it works around that group, right? But to me, it seems like it clicked to me in that moment that, you know what? They set her up to be the fall guy, and she doesn't even know it. Because I'm just going to explain my theory when it comes to this. Melissa said in the opening clip, the opening scene, she said, I've known of this for 6 months, but I decided to let it go because I just wanted to make it to the wedding and then be done. Teresa admits, I've known of the, I've known this for 6 months. I told my brother, or Louis told my brother about this, and I've decided to keep quiet about this because I didn't want to make them upset so they wouldn't ruin my wedding. So their story matches. Teresa and Melissa have known of this for 6 months. Now, in the first few episodes, when Danielle goes to Jennifer's house, she's eating and they're having, I don't know if it's a coffee or tea or a cup of water, but Teresa calls, or Jennifer calls Teresa on FaceTime. And then they talk about that Laura. That's when we hear about Laura for the first time. And then they say, yeah, we met with her and all of this. And then she had a lot of stuff to tell us about Margaret. And Danielle asked at that point, and she said, did she say anything else about anyone? And then we see Teresa's face and we see Jennifer's face, and they're just kind of quiet about it, but they smirk, the both of them. They smirk, and then Danielle's like, what is going on here? Who is it, right? And then one of the producers in Danielle's confessional says, do you want to know what it is? And she's like, of course I want to know what it is. Wouldn't you want to know what it is? So at that point, Teresa, she probably had already told Jen, right? She told Jen at some point that Louis sat down with Joe Gorga. Okay, that's my theory. So Teresa told her good friend Jennifer that Louis called up Joe, sat down with him, and told him about the cheating rumors. So for sure, Jennifer, as a good friend of Teresa, already knew that Joe Gorga was mad, that Melissa was mad, and wasn't saying anything. And then they both agree to not talk about the rumors, or to not be the one bringing it up to light, right? So Teresa's like, oh, I'm not even talking about the rumors. I'm not even mentioning. You really don't see Teresa talk about it the entire season. Jennifer just hints at it at first, and she's just like, I'm not going to talk about it because that's something similar was done to me last year, and if I revealed it, I would be just as dirty as Margaret, and I'm not going to do that. And basically she kind of gave it away, right? She gave it away at that point by saying that, because anyone with a brain can just come up and say, oh, okay, someone is cheating, or there's rumors of someone cheating, right? So then she didn't tell Danielle at her house what the rumor was or who it was about. But then she goes to Ireland, and then Danielle asked Jennifer, what did that woman say, that Laura woman? What did she say? And then in 2.5 seconds flat, Jennifer just spilled the bean to Danielle and said, someone in the group is accused of cheating. That person is Melissa. This is what she told me. I don't know why I'm getting that feeling that Teresa and Jennifer were like, we're not going to be the one confronting Melissa about it, because my brother, Louis already did that, and that didn't go very well. However, we want that out there. We want the world to know that there's this cheating rumor about Melissa. So then they're just like, we're going to tell somebody. And we're going to tell somebody who's not very experienced with the show, a.k.a. Danielle Cabral. And then Danielle is going to feel some sort of way because she's kind of friendly with Melissa too. So of course she's going to want to tell her eventually, and we're just going to be like, okay, well, you know, go ahead, right? And then this is going to be it. Like, oh my gosh, Danielle got set up. That's my theory. That's what I saw. And that's why you even see her jaw, like she is like, her jaw dropped. When Melissa's like, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, the rumor, you know, I already knew that. Danielle. Danielle was not expecting that. Melissa threw a curved ball at Danielle. I don't know if like it flew over her head at that point. But today when she's watching the episode, I wonder if she feels a little set up by the ladies because she got played. They knew all along what they were doing. They just didn't want to be the ones doing the dirty work, as always. Danielle got played.